Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give. And today I have got a message for you guys all around the concept of consciousness. And what I wanted to dive into with sharing with you the 4 different categories of consciousness that I recently learnt at Date with Destiny, a Tony Robbins event. And I really want to dive into that. But the concept that I was kind of thinking about, bringing to you guys so that we can contextualize the 4 different categories of consciousness is the fact that we cannot expand our consciousness by holding on to our belief systems. And I'm going to dive right into that, and I'm going to tell you what on earth I am actually meaning when I say that. But let me give you a little bit more context before I dive into sharing that structure with you. But ultimately, it's come about because I am absolutely fascinated with expanding and challenging my belief system. And I find that a really amazing way to do that is around studying the different belief systems that different groups of people hold throughout their lives. And a great entry point for that is actually around religious belief systems. So at the moment, I don't know, I grew up in kind of an atheist sort of family. I went to a Christian high school and stuff, so I was, around it. I even used to go to Sunday school because my best friend was Christian, and, so I've been kind of around it, but I've grown up with kind of more of a scientific sort of background and, that sort of thing. And so to me, it's really fascinating and interesting to dive into the worlds of other people and understand what their belief system is, what their structure is, and not holding on to my own belief system. And, there was a point in my life where, the kind of the word God and, all that sort of Christian language was kind of like, I don't know, it just felt like weird to me because I didn't know much about it. And what I did know was, the belief systems of people around me who were atheists. So I was kind of like, what's wrong with these people's belief system and why do they do that? And so I went on a journey of challenging that belief system within myself, and a book that helped me really do that because it uses so much Christian language was A Course in Miracles. So if you guys haven't touched that, you should definitely check that out, that book. But definitely it allowed me to sort of open and expand my mind to a new level, because I wasn't around it, so I needed to immerse myself in it. But, this concept about, not being able to expand our consciousness when we hold on to our belief systems is something that I've been really looking into with Sam Harris. You guys have heard me reiterate his name over the last month or so because I've been absolutely addicted to his podcast, Waking Up with Sam Harris, and a number of his videos and researching his work. But also I've just been diving into a little bit of Joe Rogan as well, and I love that he challenges all these different concepts, and I don't know, I just really enjoy it. And but what I'm finding is that you oftentimes see these people debating about their belief system, and they're doing it from the wrong place. So they're doing it from this place of, hey, it's my belief system, therefore it's right. It's reinforced because I've got this whole group of other people who believe just like me, and now I'm going to get into debate with you to show you how you're wrong and I'm right, and I'm going to justify and prove that to you, and I'm not going to listen to what you have to say for the purposes of expanding my own mentality. I'm just going to be here to just convince you you're wrong, I'm right, come over this side. And when we get into that place, we cannot have understanding. It is just like this power struggle for who's got the right belief system, and it creates complete disharmony, and we stunt our growth and potential in our levels of consciousness. And so that's why I want to bring this message to you guys, in the hope that it is going to get you questioning about your current belief system and how you handle the belief systems of others, because I really believe that it's not necessarily what I believe and what you believe that creates the connection or the separation. It's actually in our ability and our willingness to understand how another person got to what they believe, because everything a person does and says and believes makes sense to them in some way, and just how what we believe and say and do makes sense to us. You know, we need to get to a point, if we want to bridge the gap and we want to evolve and up level our level of consciousness, then we need to be able to have a kind of conversation with a person who has a completely different set of beliefs, and not for the purposes of trying to convert them to our side, but for the purposes of expanding our own mind and understanding why a person gets to believe and think that way that they do. And it doesn't mean that we have to therefore take on that belief system. It just means that, hey, you're a human being, I'm a human being, and what makes or breaks the connection and separation is our belief systems, but not just our belief systems. It's whether we choose to or not get curious and understand how another person has this set of beliefs and how I have this set of beliefs, and so we can build this understanding without having to go onto each other's sides, you know, because then that is how we can ultimately generate peace. You know, when I can be at one with myself and one with others, I'm at peace, you know, and I don't have to force somebody to come over to my side, but I get it. I know how I'm speaking is kind of pretty idealistic, because there are groups of people in this world who have certain belief systems that absolutely can impede on the livelihood of other groups of people. And I'm not sure how we're going to manage that. Ultimately, my vision and my hope and what drives me forward with my own purpose, my own personal development and up-leveling of my own consciousness, is to ideally see a world somewhere in the future where we are at one with one another. And I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't probably think it's going to happen in my lifetime, maybe not even in 1,000 years from now. But it is the purpose of the evolution of our consciousness, and that's what I want to share with you guys, which is the 4 categories of consciousness, because I think that when we can bring different frameworks and language to our evolution, or to all sorts of different human behavior sort of models, that is when we can get a gauge of self-awareness as to where we currently are and have a map to where we want to get to, so that we can all evolve and grow. And hopefully my hope is that we do get to that kind of oneness consciousness where we realize that at the base level we're all one, we're all connected, we are not separate, and what separates us is our unwillingness to understand how another person generates and creates a certain belief system. Doesn't mean we have to take it on board, but we do need a level of understanding. And like I said, I know that there is a huge hindrance in terms of some groups of people's belief systems that impede on other people to, not a great extent in terms of life and death a lot of times. So I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how we're going to navigate that. That's very future projected, but I want to share with you what we can navigate through right now, which is identifying in those 4 different categories of consciousness, so that we can know what the path forward is. So let me share that with you, and this is what was shared with us for a short period of time at the Date with Destiny event, Tony Robbins event. We went through a whole day in what's called spiral dynamics, or the Graves model, which is 8 different levels of consciousness. I would be really keen to share that with you guys. It's a little bit more in depth, but today I want to take it back a level and give you an entry point, which is the 4 categories of consciousness, which the Graves model is situated in. If you have no idea what I'm talking about with the Graves model, I would challenge you to, after this video, just Google it. Google the 8 different levels of consciousness, the Graves model, spiral dynamics, get a little bit of understanding. And if you guys let me know that that would be interesting for you, if I dive into that and sort of give you an outline on what the Graves model is, those different levels of consciousness, then definitely I'd love to hear from you. So drop me a comment either now or after I introduce you to the 4 different categories of consciousness, so you have a bit of an understanding as to whether you find it interesting. But ultimately it gives us a good pathway to empowerment and up-leveling our consciousness. So let me get into it. The first level, or the first category I should say, of consciousness is egocentric. Now, we've all heard about being egocentric. This category of consciousness is where we all begin. You know, this is when we come into the world as a baby. You know, it's all about us and our needs. We are not conscious of the needs of others, and we're definitely not doing anything about meeting other people's needs, right? And so where that becomes a problem is where maybe you're 40 years old and you're still really egocentric. You know, that's going to be pretty difficult to manage relationships and business and everything if you're still all that you care about in your level of consciousness is yourself, right? So that's the first category of consciousness. The second category of consciousness is ethnocentric. Now, this is where we kind of expand just caring about ourselves, and it expands to people that we like, you know, or people who can, you know, kind of give us pain or pleasure. You know, we kind of start to expand our level of consciousness to care not just about ourselves, but also start caring about those who we actually like, or, you know, or can inflict some sort of pain or pleasure on us. Generally, this is going to be expanding to our friendship groups or our families. Sorry, this big fly that keeps getting in my way. You know, and so we start caring and expanding to that level. Once we can definitely get out of that category and expand to a new level, you know, not everybody does. I'm just going to give that kind of outlet there. The third category of consciousness is world-centric. And this is where we start to expand our vision from just our family, our friends, our community. It gets larger on the world scale to care about humanity and the direction of humanity, and you know, all those sorts of things. That's the world-centric category of consciousness. And then finally, that fourth category of consciousness is spirit-centric. And I probably should just say here, because you know, I sort of thought as spirituality as religion at one point before I sort of dove into my own personal development and this sort of work. But spirit doesn't necessarily mean, it's not religious. You know, spirit is actually, you know, it's really what our core motives become. And, you know, it's sort of like, you know, there's definitely different levels of motives and different kinds of motives that direct our behavior. But ultimately, getting to spirituality is that expansion of our motives to sort of deepen our consciousness and expand our consciousness. Because really, consciousness is simply a measure of who and what you care about consistently through time. That's what consciousness is, right? So that spirit-centric consciousness is this evolution and expansion to not just the world and everyone in it, but all things in it. So it's everyone and everything, you know? A person who reaches kind of this level of this category of consciousness, you know, there's not too many people in the world who are at this level, but they, you know, just as you wouldn't want to kill another human being, they bring it down to they wouldn't even want to kill another insect. You know, they care so deeply about not just everyone, but everything, everything that encompasses this world. You know, that's kind of the spirit-centric, and probably even beyond that. You know, that's kind of the spirit-centric category of consciousness. So that's a really big kind of overview, and it might be challenging for some of you to get your mind around if you haven't really dove into this work. I hope that how I've just sort of given you an overview has been helpful and it has made sense. Please let me know if I can explain anything, if you have any sort of questions there. But just to give you a recap before I dive into the chat room and see who's been able to join me, the 4 different categories of consciousness, and I want to remind you that consciousness is simply a measure of who and what you care about consistently throughout time. That's why consciousness is evolving, and these are the 4 categories that you can simplify our evolution in consciousness through. Number 1, egocentric, just caring all about you. You know, expanding to ethnocentric, caring about those people that I like and people who could inflict pain or pleasure directly onto me, you know, our community or our friendship, our family, our groups there. Then expanding to the 3rd category of world-centric, you know, really caring about everyone in the world, humanity. And the fourth is spirit-centric, where you're caring about everyone and everything. So I hope that this has been helpful to you guys. Let me know. Just really wanted to dive into this with you because I'm fascinated right now with how we can evolve our level of consciousness and stop enforcing our belief systems on other people. And if you guys, like I said, if you guys find today's topic interesting, please let me know, because I would be definitely open to diving in a little bit deeper to the next level. So these 4 categories have 8 different levels of consciousness that squeeze into these different categories, and it's really fascinating and interesting in terms of understanding where you are, understanding when you're communicating with others, where they are on their level of consciousness, so that we can see a pathway forward to our evolution, which is ultimately getting to that oneness experience, you know, where we are at one with ourselves and one with all. So hoping that this is valuable to you guys. I want to check in with you, and before I check in, I want to make sure that each and every one of you amazing human beings are all part of the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. Amazing like minds who are absolutely expanding to a new level of their consciousness. They want to help you do the same. So let's come on over and go deeper with us over there. There's over 3,500 incredible individuals, and we all want to meet you and see how I can support and challenge you to get to your next level of your potential. So I definitely want to check in with you guys now and see who's been able to join me. I've got Stephen and Alexandria. Yes, I always love when you can join me live, and Amy and Ram and Moises and Kelly and Aaron, and thank you for your kind words there, Moises. And Liam and Luke and Antonia and Al and Phil and Andrew and Rajesh and Jay's here and Mike. Thoughts, emotions, actions, results. Yeah, I would even say, you know, I'm a big believer that, you know, we cannot control the thoughts that go on and pop into our minds. You know, they get triggered by all sorts of different things, but what we can control is what thoughts we choose to believe and which thoughts we choose to question. And that's why I'm a big believer in mindfulness and being able to create space between what our thoughts are and definitely, you know, between the thought and the emotion, which triggers the action that you take, and then therefore the results that you generate. Like you're saying there, Mike, I love that. So, you know, question thoughts. You know, if we just believe everything that goes on in our mind, we're mindless to our results that we're creating, because we think it, we therefore straight away believe it, there's no space, we create that emotion, we take the action, we get the result, like you're saying there, Mike, I love that. But if we can create space between the thought, the emotions, you know, that's when we can start questioning, oh, this thought, is it real? Is it true? You know, can I question it? If you haven't come across a pathway forward in terms of, you know, really questioning your thoughts and gaining a more empowered state of being and designing your life from that state, I really encourage you to check out the work of Byron Katie. Go to thework.com, check out her free process there. Amazing, do the work, as she calls it, and that is absolutely a brilliant pathway forward to definitely questioning your thoughts, so that you're not mindlessly, you know, believing everything that comes into your mind. So I love that, Mike. And Marcin's here, and Martin and Mike. Always be mindful of your thoughts. Absolutely, exactly. And Hazem is here, and Alexandria. You are really addressing the root of so much fear, false pride, separation, and conflict among our human extended family. Love this message. I love that you're loving it, Alexandria. And I think it's one of the most important messages that we could ever be diving into. You know, ultimately, we need to stop trying to force our own belief systems, you know, onto other individuals. We need to get curious, and we need to bridge the gap through understanding how another person gets to their belief system without trying to justify and enforce ours onto them. You know, their belief systems are just as justifiable as ours, and we need to get to a place of higher levels of consciousness so that we can be at one with ourselves and with others without trying to get everybody to believe this certain thing that is the right way. So I think it's super, super important, and I'm super geeking out on really listening into these different debates between these people who have these differing belief systems, and oftentimes it comes from those religious backgrounds as well. So I love hearing about it, learning about it, and being curious about it so that I can challenge my own belief system and get to a level of bridging the gap through understanding how another person generates their belief system without them having to be the same as me. I don't care. I like our differences, as long as it doesn't impede on the livelihood of other people's or other groups of individuals, which I know we do. We definitely have those belief systems and groups of people out there who absolutely, it's a challenging situation, which I have zero idea how we're going to navigate, but it's a really interesting pathway forward. And I think that the way that we can impact it is by understanding the pathway forward to up-leveling our own personal consciousness. And, you know, from that place, that's how we can make a difference, and guiding the people closest to us to do the same. So, you know, I'm just really passionate about this at the moment, and I'm loving that this is resonating with you today, Alexandria. And Michael's here, and Shifa and Phil always check in. What do you believe to be true that isn't? Yes, absolutely. I love that, Phil. Yeah, definitely. Always question yourself. Always question your belief systems, you know. I think it's such a powerful place. And if you have the courage, because most people don't. Most people want to be really certain about what they believe because it's their identity, and to lose that certainty is to, like, die. It's a death of an identity, and they don't know who they are without it. You know, that's a scary place to be from my perspective. I want to be so open and able to challenge my belief systems that I am free, you know, and that I am real and that I am expanding. So I love that question, Phil. That's awesome. And Ricardo and Jessica and Tanya and Peter and Moises, we are all one. Separation is an illusion. Absolutely. You know, but in this world, like, it's so difficult to get our minds around that, particularly when we're surrounded by people who are so set in their belief systems, and we're stuck in some sort of tribal mentality or group situation where we kind of, like, to go against the pack is kind of scary. I want us to evolve past that. And like I said, if you guys are interested, please let me know if you want me to talk into the 8 different levels of consciousness, because it makes what I'm talking about a whole lot easier to kind of understand. But you do have to kind of bring your minds with you, because it's a new concept, a new, you know, way of looking at the world. But I find it absolutely fascinating, so I'm sure you guys will too. And I've got Paul's here, and Hazem, thanks for being here, and Marco. The world needs just a little more empathy. There are not us and the others, but just humanity. Great message, love it. I love it, Marco, absolutely. And like I said, my hope for humanity is that we can get to this oneness consciousness, you know. And like I said, I don't know when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, but, you know, that is my driving force, to see and envision that connectedness where people just get it, you know, where we're at that level of consciousness where we're at one with ourselves and one with others. Absolutely. That is peace, that is freedom, you know, and stop wasting all this time and energy trying to enforce our belief systems onto another person and being closed off from any understanding as to how they got to their certain belief system and how we can bridge the gap through understanding. I love that, Marco. And Mike, beliefs and values equals how we think. Definitely, yeah. And, you know, our beliefs and values are generated through our experience. And, you know, our experience is generated through the group that we come into the world, you know, with, you know, those belief systems that sort of get passed on, you know. So it's important for us to be constantly challenging our beliefs, up-leveling in our values, and changing how we think when it's not empowering to ourselves and others and our evolution in consciousness. I love that, Mike, and I appreciate you being here. And Philippe, oh, sorry if you guys can't hear me very well today. I am outside. Oh, thanks for letting me know. Sorry I didn't check earlier. And Sergio's here, and Milag. How to deal with a soured relationship during the first days of relationship. Milag, I love your question and I so appreciate it. I would love to address that more with you. I'd probably want a little bit more information. If you would like to email me some more details give me some context in terms of what's going on with that relationship, I will definitely do my best to give you some value there. So just shoot me a message. And Cinder's here and Jeannie. Yes, it has been helpful. Oh, awesome, awesome. Love hearing that. And Elvis is here and Alexandria. I was raised totally Christian faith from age 4 to my 20s and enjoyed love, support and opportunities, but also doses of fear of judgment and future. Luckily, also read a ton of open-minded books as a child, so pretty accepting of others' experiences, beliefs, etc. Have always enjoyed connecting with those from other cultures and countries, and thank you for making the Limitless Potential Inner Circle community, which reinforces how connected we are. Absolutely. I love hearing that, and thank you so much for sharing your journey and experience, Alexandria. It is always so appreciated, and you are super appreciated in that community. You're such a big part of it, and we all are inspired by you and your journey. So I love that, and yeah, I've got to connect with you, so I know that you are such a beautiful soul and open-minded, and definitely up-leveling and growing in your level of consciousness and doing your part. So you are super appreciated. And Hazel's here, and Ram. Spiritualism is embracing the whole universe as one, expanding to embrace holistically. Boom. I absolutely love that, Ram. Thank you so much for articulating it that way. I love that. And Stephen's here. And Scott, great description of spirituality in its difference from religion. You rock. Oh, the blue dress really accentuates your eyes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Scott. I super appreciate that. And I love that this was resonating with you. And I love that you you really resonated with how I describe spirituality, because it used to hold me up a little bit as well. And I used to think, spirituality, isn't that religion? Well, yeah, like I said to you guys before, it's not. And I love that resonated. Thanks, Scott. And Ricardo. Hi, today I found a good opportunity in my business with timeline, but my beliefs are blocking me. I just need to talk to some people that I know, but I feel like I'm stuck because it's so difficult. It will be lack of confidence. It will be shame. We'll be afraid of what they say about me. What can I do? I need help. I see friends moving forward so fast without fear. Okay, Ricardo, what I would say to you is you are living the human experience. And I am pretty sure that I have done a training for you guys around the limiting beliefs exercise. But Ricardo, if you would like to just jump on a quick call, let me give you some tools there for dealing with what you're going through. If that's interesting to you, then definitely shoot me a message, and I used to do these power sessions with you guys. I've taken them off recently because I'm trying to develop some really amazing, this really amazing deep program for you guys, which has taken up a lot of mental power. So I moved away from those 15-minute power sessions, but if you guys are really interested in it, I know I can help and support you and give you a quick tool that will help you in what challenge you're currently faced with. Reach out to me. Let me know you just want to jump on one of those 15-minute power sessions, and I will open it up for you. So just for people who really want to do that, and Ricardo, I'd invite you to do that. I'd love to help you there. And Matthias is here, and Craig, and Mo, and Judy, and Jessica. At your referral, I've been reading Sacred Contracts. Awesome. Finding that's opening doors to different levels of consciousness among so much more. Your book list is much appreciated. I've been enjoying tapping into it for my journey on spiritual growth. Jessica, I love hearing that. I love that you're such an action taker and you're diving into those books. Sacred Contracts is, whoa, like it's really in depth and intense, and it brings the language of archetypes to reasoning why we do what we do. And she does dive into those different religious, the religious history and background, which I find so fascinating. And that's Caroline Myss is the author of Sacred Contracts, and I've heard her say, I don't want to offend anybody here, but she says that religion is a costume party for spirituality, so it's that whole concept of tapping into your spiritual evolution minus the religion, and that's what she kind of calls religion as a costume party. Caroline Myss, amazing, very fascinating book, and I love that you're reading it, and thanks so much for sharing that, Jessica. And Cheyenne's here, and Ram. The Limitless Potential Inner Circle with all lovely human beings from diverse backgrounds is a great step to move together towards a higher level of spiritual consciousness. I love that, Ram. That's exactly why that group exists, you know, to connect us all, you know, and to help encourage and challenge each other to that next level. You know, we've got to be focused on our spiritual evolution as individuals and impacting and inspiring and influencing those around us to do the same. So I love that, Ram. Thanks so much. I love that we're so like-minded there. And Petty is here, awesome, and Jeannie and Trish and Ray. And Jeannie, love your Facebook Lives. They're helping people dive deeper. Thank you for being you and for sharing every day. Thank you so much, Jeannie. I super appreciate that you appreciate me showing up. You guys are the reason why I do what I do. And I thank you all so much for giving me a platform to really talk about what I feel really, really matters and to help try and add some value and direction there as well. So thank you, Jeannie. I so appreciate that. And Jeremy's here. Awesome. And Aaron, you should continue that conversation in the 8 different levels. Awesome. That's what I wanted to hear. Please, some more people give me some feedback on that so that I can definitely do that for you, because I really want to do it. But at the same time, I want to make sure that you guys find it valuable. I know it's really valuable to me, and I know that it's valuable for humanity's evolution to get that understanding. So thank you, Aaron, for letting me know, and anybody else, let me know. And thank you, Aiden Naran. I never know how to say it, but I always appreciate you. And Trish, you are super, super welcome. Thank you for your positivity. And Metin, thank you for your kind words there. And Jeannie, come join me at the Oneness Temple in India later in the year. You know, that is something that I really, really want to do. Shoot me some details about it, Jeannie. I'd love to, you know, India is definitely on my list. And yeah, to get to the Oneness Temple. I actually had a bit of an experience with a oneness meditation at a Tony Robbins event, which was incredibly insightful for me and incredibly connective, which has really helped me sort of dive more into, you know, expanding into that kind of oneness experience. So I love that, Jeannie. Let me know more details. It's awesome that you're doing that. And Moises, I'd like to share you my experience, Vanessa, when I realized very clear that we are all one. Hope we can sometimes have a video call. Awesome, Moises, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Yeah, I'm always fascinated to hear the different journeys and experiences of others. And yeah, particularly if you've had that experience where you got really clear that we're all connected in one, I'd love to hear that. That would be awesome, Moises. And Alexandria, people say you're a dreamer, but you're not the only one. I love it. Yeah, I definitely get that I'm very idealistic, but you know what? I like being idealistic, you know, and I like, you know, kind of, you know, envisioning how we could be, even if to the, you know, our current circumstances may not necessarily feel like it's realistic. You know, without being visionary and without being idealistic, you know, we stay stuck in reality and thinking that things aren't possible. You know, we've got to expand past that. So I love that, Alexandria. And Sam's here, and I appreciate you so much, Sam. Thank you. And Tony and Helgi and Philip from Texas. Awesome. And Aaron and Philip, a Texas Canadian. I love it. It's awesome. And Ricardo, good reflections. Thank you. You're so welcome. And Max and Ricardo, you're absolutely welcome there. And Andre and Savula and Catherine and Moises. Yes, how do we schedule a video call? Yeah. Any of you guys who want to jump on these 15-minute power sessions with me, I don't have the link open to everybody, but if you're hearing this message and that is interesting to you, if you want to share something with me, you want to connect quickly, or if you have a challenge that you're currently faced with that you'd like a new perspective and for me to get a bit more personal background, definitely shoot me a message and I will update my calendar for a select few of you who do reach out to me. I will definitely like to connect with you guys. So that is it for me today, guys. I am absolutely hoping that this resonated with you. It was interesting to you to uncover, you know, and identify what those 4 different categories of consciousness are. Like I said, I'd love to hear from you because tomorrow I'd actually really love, and I'm being selfish here, I'd really love to share with you the 8 different levels of consciousness that fit into these categories so that you can see that scale and you can see where you currently are. You can identify where the people in your life are, and definitely where you want to get to, kind of have that roadmap. So let me know if that's interesting. Like Aaron, thank you for your feedback. And guys, that is it for me today. So I am sending you, as always, all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you, to wherever you are in the world today. I hope it's brilliant and amazing and not as hot as it is here in Melbourne. It's going to be, again, another 40-degree day. It is super hot and it's only really early in the morning. But I absolutely appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Thank you for showing up and spending your time with me, and I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Much love.